A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Lima, but first are the headlines. Orania agrees to review NSSF law decision. Dozens hospitalized after Kenya school fire. And in sports, Vipers await either Express or Bull in 2021 Uganda Cup final. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. The Chairman General of the National Organization of Trade Union, Mr. Wilson Owere, said that Parliament Speaker Jacob Oulanyah has promised that the National Social Security Fund Amendment Act 2019 will be considered from the stage at which it was before his ruling last Thursday. Mr. Owere said the Speaker's pledge was one of the resolutions arrived at yesterday's meeting between workers, MPs and NOTU officials at Parliament. We have more. Addressing journalists shortly after the meeting, the workers, legislators and the NOTU leadership said they pushed to expedite enactment of the law intended to grant NSSF members aged 45 or above and who have served for at least 10 years the right to withdraw up to 20% of their savings. In his letter, the President wants Parliament to amend the clause where workers who have either served for 10 years or clocked 45 years to be allowed to access part of their savings, saying that the beneficiary should have both to ensure the savings are not depleted quickly. The President also wants the NSSF fund to be transferred to the Ministry of Finance instead of having it under both the Ministry of Finance and Gender, saying that the decision to split the supervisory role will delay decision making and encourage corruption. He also wants Parliament to delete a clause that was allowing a person who has become disabled, loses a job and spends 1 year without getting another job to be allowed to get part of his savings, saying that this put them in danger of getting little money in their old age. Key stakeholders behind the bill have been engrossed in a series of meetings in an attempt to save Parliament from undergoing a fresh process. They want the Attorney General and the Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development to return the bill to Parliament urgently to cater for the needs of the savers who have served for 10 years and those who have reached 45 years. The Speaker also refused to accept a request motion by the Ndoram East Member of Parliament, Wilfred Niwagaba, in which he wanted to bring a motion to challenge the Speaker's ruling on a lapse of served business by 10th Parliament. The Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has called upon Ugandans to embrace the COVID-19 vaccine to enable the country to go back to normal business, which will help boost the economy of the country. Nalugo reports.
Addressing a news conference at the Government Media Center in Kampala, the Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija, said over 4 trillion Ugandan shillings has been spent in the fight against COVID-19 so far. Therefore, if all Ugandans are vaccinated against COVID-19, business will go back to normal, which will help boost the country's economy.
So the economy is sickish in some sectors. Some sectors are doing well. That's why we are still growing at 3-point-something%. But what we all should now work for or towards to is to get vaccinated. And once we have got all vaccinated, I think then the government we shall release the whole economy to start running around. And with the people who are annoyed because this disease, by being by forcing us to lock down the economy, they have lost time, they have lost money, they won't work like really busy. They work like this so that this economy can move again. Thank you.
The minister also dismissed rumors that government plans to take money from all dormant accounts and said that accounts that have not been active for a period of 2 years are considered dormant. However, the money on it is kept on another account and the owners can access it anytime.
After 2 years of inactivity, the SFI transfers the said accounts to a separate register of dormant accounts in its books, and a notice in writing of that action is sent to the depositor, that is the customer, at his or her last known address, according to the record, wherever you are keeping your money. Once the dormant account has been on the register for 3 years, the supervised financial institutions advertises this fact in the print media.
As such, Bank of Uganda assures the public that government will not take over unclaimed balances that are lying idle on accounts held either with supervised financial institutions or with electronic money issuers. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Panicked students along with their teachers came out to survey the damage after fire gutted a dormitory at the Ofafa Jericho High School in Kenya's Nairobi County. About 40 students were hospitalized after inhaling smoke in the Monday night disaster.
Matthew Lynch, the school's principal, said that most of the students who were taken to hospital were attended to and returned back to school. He added that the few who are in hospital are now in a stable condition according to the hospital's officials. He said the students inhaled smoke as they helped to put out the fire. The blaze destroyed personal effects belonging to the students. Medical authorities said most of the hospitalized students were suffering from breathing complications, but that they suffered no burns. The cause of the fire was not immediately known, as members of the Nairobi County Department said investigations would commence at daybreak. School fires are common in Kenya. Authorities have blamed arsonists and poor safety protocols.
Let's take a quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. The head of Sudan's Sovereignty Council called for unity on Tuesday after a reported failed coup attempt by a group of soldiers. General Abdel Fattah Burhan made the plea during a visit to a military base in Khartoum. General Abdel Fattah Burhan said in an impassioned speech that they will not hand over Sudan to an unknown party or forces, adding that they want to hand over Sudan to national forces or parties that will care for its security, safety and unity, as well as for its people, whom they know will care and look to improve their condition. Despite the attempted coup, the country's ruling council and military remain in control. It did, however, underscore the fragility of Sudanese path to democracy more than 2 years after the military's overthrow of long-time autocrat Omar al-Bashir amid a public uprising against his 3-decade rule. A military official said an unspecified number of troops from the armored corps were behind the attempt and that they tried to take over several government institutions but were stopped in their tracks. The official, who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to brief the media, said over 36 troops, including high-ranking officers, have been arrested. Meanwhile, some Sudanese citizens in Khartoum expressed their rejection to the attempted coup involving military officers and civilians linked to the ousted regime of long-time autocrat Omar al-Bashir. Moving on, Burundi on Tuesday vowed a thorough investigation into a series of deadly terrorist grenade blasts that hit the economic capital, Bujumbura. The attacks late on Monday followed a deadly grenade explosion in a bar in the capital, Gitega, on Sunday, and a series of mortar shells fired on Burundi's international airport on Saturday night. The Interior Ministry said in a statement that 2 people were killed when still unidentified terrorists hurled grenades in a Bujumbura parking lot and near a market on Monday night. Medical and security sources told the media that 3 people had died, while Prime Minister Alain Guillaume Bunyoni said more than 100 had been injured. The ministry said it condemned the barbarity of the blasts and pledged a thorough investigation to put these nameless terrorist cowards squads out of action. There were no claims of responsibility for the grenade attacks in Bujumbura or at the Jitenga bar on Sunday, which left 2 people dead. They came on the heels of mortal attack on Bujumbura airport on Saturday, which was claimed by the Red Tabara rebel group in a statement on Twitter. No one was injured in that assault, launched a day before President Evariste Ndayishimiye flew out for the UN General Assembly in New York. Red Tabara, which has a rear base in South Kivu in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, emerged 10 years ago and is now the most active Burundi's rebel groups. It is accused of being behind many deadly attacks or ambushes across the East African country since 2015. Away from that, Ethiopia said on Monday that it would not hold polling in at least 26 constituencies during the next round of landmark national polls due to security issues. Let's take a look.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's Prosperity Party secured a new 5-year term in the first round in June by claiming 410 out of 436 contested seats in the federal parliament. But logistical challenges and insecurity led to delays in some areas, and a second round of voting is planned for September 30th. More than 7 million voters can choose representatives for 47 federal parliamentary seats and 105 region ones, according to Electoral Board spokeswoman Soliana Shimless. Amhara has been scarred by fighting between government troops and the Tigray People's Liberation Front rebel group, which Oromia is grappling with an insurgency by the Omoro Liberation Army. The Electoral Board said that polling will also not take place in some constituencies in the Afar and Benshangul Gumuz regions without specifying how many. Ethiopia has 547 constituencies nationally, but the Electoral Board has written off plans to hold elections in Tigray, which is currently mostly under TPLF control. Ethiopia's new government is set to be formed on October 4th. Soliana said the Electoral Board was aiming to release the results of the September 30th polls by October 10th.
Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, Massmart, the operators of the game stores in Uganda, has said it is reviewing the idea of engaging investors who have a better understanding of the local market conditions, including customer needs and local supply opportunities.
In an emailed statement at the weekend, Ms. Michelle Kemp, the Game RSA JHB Senior Manager Communications Marketing, told journalists that in March, Massmart, which operates several subsidiaries across Africa, started on a project in which it sought to review the performance of their stores in East and West Africa, with the objective of understanding how best to ensure ongoing profitability. This, she said, would include an opportunity to review the idea to improve the store's performance under the management of investors and entrepreneurs who have a better understanding of local or regional market conditions. Ms. Kemp said, noting that Massmart had not yet taken a final decision, although they are approaching the final stages of that project. Early last week, reports were circulated that Game Stores had closed its outlet in Lugogo, Kampala, which at the time of reporting was undergoing routine maintenance and stock taking. In East Africa, Massmart operates 1 store in Uganda, 3 in Kenya and 1 in Tanzania. Game Stores has been operating in Uganda for close to 20 years, employing more than 300 Ugandans. In her email, Ms. Kemp also noted that any decision resulting from the ongoing review would be guided by their commitment to diligently honor their responsibilities to their employees, customers, suppliers, business partners, and broader country stakeholders. The retail business has been undergoing a number of challenges in the last 2 years, worsened by COVID-19 related lockdowns and disruptions.
In our health news today, in the alleyways of Korogocho slum in Kenya, 15 women, many of them grandmothers, have enrolled in twice-a-week taekwondo classes at a rundown community center. At the Korogocho Community Hall, women clad in headscarves and long skirts are punching with bare knuckles sacks full of old clothes produced as makeshift punching bags.
Korogocho is one of the largest slum neighborhoods of Nairobi, with high population and unemployment rife in the slum. In Korogocho, there is a high percentage of widows and single mothers who have the hard task of bringing up children in difficult conditions. Elderly women suffer far higher levels of sexual abuse since they are deemed weaker by the attackers. Part of their training involves learning to vocalize their distress during any attack to ensure that they are heard. The protection strategy is used to alert any nearby members of the public should they suffer an attack. Lack of prospects and a secure future mean many youths are vulnerable to joining gangs which can lead them to commit crimes including rape. Every Thursday at 2 p.m., the 15 women, aged mainly between 60 and 80, meet for a taekwondo training session. The oldest woman in the class is Wambuyi Njoroge, who is believed to be around 110 years old. A 60-year-old Jane Waithaigeni, Gabriel Chimaru, the team leader and trainer, say that you do not need a lot of energy, but rather it is just self-defense, just to protect yourself and run away. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Kenyan authorities say that rape and sexual abuse cases have increased. Kenya's Ministry of Health say that it has received reports of at least 5,000 sexual violence cases across the country, many of whom live in poverty. Officials say in many cases, the perpetrators are close to the victims and do not believe the abuse is a crime. A 72-year-old Esther Wambuyi Muraith, who lives in the Korogocho slum, say that when people look at her, they think that she is a foolish old woman, yet she has what it takes to defend herself.
In our sports news today, Congolese forward Cesar Lobi Manzoki scored a brace as Vipers brushed aside the Rusty Police in the first semi-final of the Stanbic Uganda Cup at the FIFA Technical Center in Jeru on Tuesday, 21st September 2021. Each of Manzoki's goals was scored in each half, executed in varying fashion and style. After dispossessing defender Hassan Mohamud, Manzoki approached the goal area before he slotted the ball past the advancing goalkeeper. Ikara had before conceding thwarted 3-1 against 1 incidents from Manzoki and Milton Karisa. The former Busoga United, Kampala Capital City Authority and Mbarara City got injured inside the opening 2 minutes after a head-on collision with Manzoki during a close contest. In the second half, Manzoki finished firmly at the near post after collecting a great squared ball from midfielder Bobosi Biaruhanga in the 52nd minute. Police's veteran midfielder Tony Maweje, who had a great display and battle with Siraj Sentamu in the middle of the park, nearly pulled back a goal, but his shot raised off the crossbar in the 65th minute. Second half substitute Dan Serunkuma also had a short kiss at the crossbar as Vipers targeted to kill off the game. There was only one caution by referee Rajab Bakasambe to Vipers defender Livingstone Mulondo. Vipers advances to the final and will await the result from Thursday's second semi-final between Express and Bull at the same venue. The final will be played on Sunday 26th September 2021. Now, before we end our news bulletin today, let's take a recap of our top stories. Orania agrees to review NSSF law decision. Dozens hospitalized after Kenya school fire. And in sports, Vipers await either Express or Bull in 2021 Uganda Cup final. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.